Welcome, everybody, to Youngstown Studio in downtown Youngstown, Ohio. I'm BJ Lisko, filling in for Joe Danyi this week on Behind the Scenes. And we're joined this week by two very special guests, Ashley and Emily of the Youngstown Area Roller Derby League. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So give me a little background on Youngstown Area Roller Derby. I know it was the Little Steel Derby Girls before, correct? Mm-hmm. But kind of how did the whole league kind of start, and how did you guys kind of get involved in it?
So my understanding is the league started in 2008. I want to say when GZ kind of just started recruiting and posting flyers around the area and approaching random people, thinking, "Hey, you might be interested in playing roller derby." So that's how I hear like the roots of Little Steel Derby Girls.
It's almost like the lore. So I
Right.
don't know exactly like how it formed, but I remember hearing like early stories of like they used to practice at the Ice Zone, and I started when we were practicing over in Salem, and I got into it because I saw a Facebook post and somebody shared it and was like, roller derby practice, if you want to show up. And I remember like walking up the ramp like terrified, like, oh my god, am I gonna do this?
Right.
And kind of never looked back too. So
Right. Yeah, I started in 2017, and I was going to school with Kalina Clark, who was on the team like many, many, many years ago, and she had mentioned it, and I was like, oh, that's real, like around here? That's a real thing? So it took me some time to actually get into it because I was in college and working 2 jobs and like didn't have insurance and like all those kinds of things. So after I got my big girl job, I had insurance, I had the work schedule that I could make it work. So I joined in 2017, and I just messaged the group and was like, hey, you guys practice? Where is that? And how do I do that? And can I just show up? And I showed up with a friend, and everybody, I mean, still to this day, the whole team is always like, come join us.
Come on in.
Sit down.
Water's fine.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
Like, what are you comfortable with? Do you just want to watch? And I just watched my first practice. So was like, I'll be back. And I was.
When I started, we had probably a couple of us who were first starting out that we started as like a rec league, that we were all like learning the basics of how to roller skate and how to fall. And I remember like that transition to like finally getting to go to practice with the big girls and actually like start playing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. So
What was sort of your knowledge level of roller derby prior to joining?
I just knew that it was skating and hitting each other. I didn't know the ins and outs. I was just like, wow, that's so cool. I want to do that. And I had no idea I think the level of like athleticism of it and the details of it and the details of moving your body and all of that. So my knowledge of it was pretty generic. I was just like, that looks really cool and I want to do it.
Oh, so have you ever seen the movie Whip It?
I've not.
It's got Ellen Page in it, but now they're Elliot Page.
Right.
But so it's a movie about roller derby, and I remember seeing that movie in high school and was like, where do I do this? And so I a couple of years later I went to school in Pittsburgh, and I know that Pittsburgh had a roller derby team, so I was like creepily obsessed and like remembered making projects that were like roller derby themed with like my graphic design projects, and was like, someday I want to do this. I can't wait. I remember buying like a pair of like $50 roller skates from Walmart and like practicing in the Imperial Skate Park, like just eating like beefing all over the place, but falling a lot without ever like buying gear. And then so I saw that the Facebook post of like, hey, Youngstown's got a roller derby team, and I was like, I'm doing it.
When I first saw roller derby, I was probably a kid, and it was probably on TV, and it was like sort of the old school. There's more of a theatric element to that, what I saw on TV, where now I think, isn't it, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's less of that now. It's more just kind of straight competition. I mean, there is still a little bit of the, you guys have nicknames and there is a little bit of that. But I mean, kind of talk a little bit about that and if that's still around, if that's still a thing with roller derby, or if it's sort of evolved past that.
So they still do bank track derby, which I think is how roller derby initially started.
And that's like a rarity now too. There's only like maybe 3 or 4 left in all the United States of the bank tracks.
Right, it's very limited.
Yeah.
But we're part of WIFTA still. We're Women's Flat Track Derby Association, and it's international kind of the regulator of women's flat track derby. And yeah, it's not the theatrical. I mean, some people really do like the makeup and the outfits and stuff like that, and we all kind of have our names and all that. But it is really the athleticism behind it and learning how to do those basic kind of skills, and you're hitting correctly and you're receiving hits correctly. And yeah, it's not the theatrics. You're not going to go up and punch somebody. Like, you go up and punch somebody, it's like penalties. Like, I kind of, when people don't understand how roller derby works and they think about like the old roller derby kind of stuff.
They're like, oh, are you throwing elbows?
Right. Oh, like, well,
just punching and stuff.
I kind of compare it to hockey. Like, hockey's a very aggressive sport too, but you still get penalties. And so, yeah, there's still illegal hits and penalties, and you can get kicked out of a bout. And yeah, so
I'm glad that we're kind of getting into like the more athleticism about it, but I also am like impressed with how I'm able to keep up with that athleticism, you know, like, and then it's like weird to think like, oh, I'm an athlete. Like, oh, I'm doing the game, I'm playing it, I'm an athlete. So it's definitely transitioned out of the rock 'em and sop 'em robots style of gameplay.
Right.
Now, when I was at your practice on Sunday, there were a lot of new girls. I know you guys had a lot of new faces there, you know, this year or for this go around. But yeah, I would talk a little bit about that if you would. I mean, is it challenging with that many new girls at first? I mean, it seemed like everybody kind of was picking it up and everybody was doing really, really well,
right?
Especially for as early as as they're involved in it,
right? Yeah. So we do have a lot of fresh people, and some people are really, really fresh. And regardless, when we are always recruiting, and we tell people, you know, we will teach you all of the things. Like, we will teach you how to skate. We will teach you how to fall. We will build you up regardless.
These girls all started maybe late November, December, and leaps and bounds that they have progressed. I mean, so how I mentioned that I started in a time where rec league was, you know, just learning how to skate, and we were kind of kept separate from the rest of the team. What I like is that those girls who were just learning how to skate and learning how to fall are still on the rink with us. So, you know, everybody's still there. And I think that being in the practice space with like everybody doing the drills and the hitting, it makes them eager to want to get out there with us. And I think that they really have taken off. Like, you're correct in seeing that they are doing really a great job.
Yeah.
So where and when can people come see you guys?
So our practices, well, we have a bout coming this Saturday.
May 20th at the Summit County Fairgrounds. There's a doubleheader, so there will be 2 games. I'm pretty sure we're playing in the second game.
Folks at home, if you're watching this on the CW, that is today, because this is going to air on May 20th. So if you're watching, the bout is today, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so at Summit County Fairgrounds, that's our first bout of the season. Doors open at 5. Super. And we have practices. We just added a Friday practice. So we practice Sunday nights, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in Cortland at the Cortland Roller Rink. And then Fridays from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Calvin Center for the Arts here in Youngstown. Yep.
It's very physical what you guys are doing out there. And, you know, I was at practice as well, too. And I saw how, you know, I mean, you guys are going out, you guys are hitting hard.
Right.
Have either of you suffered any injuries or anything like that?
Yes. Yeah, we get the injuries. I had a knee injury. I tore my PCL right before COVID happened.
Yeah, that was a pretty serious injury.
Yeah, so I was off my feet for a while.
So fortunately, I've never had anything super serious. I've rolled my ankle a couple good times. Currently, I have a skate imprint on the side of my leg right now. Right. So it's kind of funny because it's like 2 perfect circles, and you can tell it's the side of a roller skate. But knock on wood, I've never been injured really bad.
It's physical contact on wheels. You know what I mean? So it's so I mean, yeah. I mean, how do you stay safe? I mean, how are you able to kind of, you know, keep injuries, you know, sort of as minimal as possible?
So that's what we don't really push people, especially if they're new. We don't really try to push. I mean, you want to challenge yourself, but
you don't ever want to do something that you aren't comfortable doing.
Right, right.
But also staying low, falling small.
Right.
When you fall, you want to get right back up again. Everybody's always got protective gear on, so that, you know, kind of eliminates a little bit of the fear, because you're like, oh, if I fall down, it's all right.
And minimum skills, like you're not going to play in a bout without knowing your minimum skills. And that's learning how to fall. That's learning how to take hits. That's being steady. That's knowing your balance.
Being able to get back up again if you do fall down, and being able to, a big one is if you do fall, keep your fingers in, you know, keep all your digits so nobody runs over any of your fingers or anything. So, just kind of making sure everybody's steady on their skates before we get into gameplay. You know?
This episode was brought to you by Youngstown Computer, the Valley's technology company. We appreciate the loyalty you all have shown to us over the years, and it's our promise to serve all of the technology needs of the Valley. Call 330-259-7278. We have both home and business services available, everything from repair, installations, and new equipment. You can improve your Wi-Fi and have your technology serve you better. Call 330-259-7278, or you can schedule your appointment right now on youngstowncomputer.com and look for the red Book Now button.
All right, well, so we're going to, I took some footage of your practice Sunday night up in Cortland. Describe a little bit what some of these drills are here.
It looks like they're teaching how to hit a wall. So the 3 players up here, they're kind of crouched up front. Cherry's showing how to hit that wall. So these 3 players are going to be blockers. They're going to hold a jammer from getting through. So it looks like Cherry's going to show how to try to get through a wall a little bit. So she's coming up to the blockers, and she's going to try to get through that seam. And the blocker's job is just to keep her from getting through.
And then so you see Shreddy, she was facing the opposite direction and kind of keeping both of her hands on either one of those skaters. We call that being the mom. And what she's doing is letting the 2 blockers who have their hips together know where their jammer is coming, and that she's either going to be trying to split the seam, like what she's doing right now. She's going to hit in between the 2 of them, or she'd keep eyes, like letting them know, like, oh, she's either going to go towards the inside, towards the end of the track, like she's kind of got her eyes looking that way, or she's going to go to the outside. And so your job as the mom is to let your skaters who are, their back is towards the jammer, which way do they need to get themselves across the track.
Communication is key. You know, if you're seeing what's going on, you want to communicate. Here we got Mad Splatters being the pivot, the mom of the blockers, and she's going to communicate verbally, also nonverbals. And K-Slay's trying to get through that wall. So even the blockers that are trying to hold her, they can communicate, hey, she's on me, or I feel her moving, or she's coming towards you.
For somebody who doesn't know, how does scoring work in roller derby?
So Malice Cooper here with the gray print tank top, she's going to be the jammer, and she would have a star on her helmet. And the way that she scores points is by passing the opposing members. So there, she just scored 3 points, getting through all 3 of them.
Gotcha.
I always explain, because I like to tell as many people as I can about roller derby usually. I like to explain it with my hands. So you have 4 blockers from each team on each hand, and you've got 2 jammers from each team. And what those 2 people who are jamming have to do is break through all 8 of these players and make a full loop around. On that second pass through, each person that they pass from the opposing team is a collected point. So that's why you're trying to break through these walls, is to once you pass somebody's hips, you're now a point scored. And this is almost even like we'll alternate back and forth whether or not the drill is for your blocking players or it's for your jamming. So like this is also a really good drill because it's teaching these 2 blockers to drop their arms, keep their hips together. You can get penalties for having a impenetrable wall where your arms are linked, or like if a jammer comes up and challenges that, you have to like drop your hold and just like put your shoulders together.
Yeah, because you can't catch somebody with your arms. You have to use your body.
So how did you guys get involved in roller derby? What sort of put this on your radar?
A friend of mine a long time ago, there was a rec league that Little Steel was putting on, and she's like, oh, come with me. And I'm like, okay, sure. She was nervous to go by herself. She hated it. I fell in love. I played for a couple of months, and then, you know, life got in the way. And then I reached back out to drama and was like, hey, girl. And then got back into it back in November. because I just couldn't stay away. It was always on my mind, even when I wasn't doing it. It's addictive.
So I don't know if it was probably November, December, they put out a Facebook post, the league, saying that they were recruiting skaters, that you didn't have to have any experience, and that was like my thing. I could never do roller derby, I can barely skate. So they said, even if you can't skate, show up. I could skate a little, so I was like, okay, maybe I can do it. My first practice, I was absolutely terrified. I walked through that door, I borrowed all the gear. They said we had to learn how to fall, and I was like, oh no, this is not for me, this is not for me. I did it one time, and it was way easier than I thought, and then it just got fun. And I've stuck with it since then.
And she just had her first scrimmage and got MVP.
I did.
So,
I had my first bout last night, actually, at like a mixer bout, and I was the blocker MVP for the team somehow.
That's awesome.
Not somehow. I've seen her play. I know how.
And do the blockers want to get the jammer out of bounds? Is that is that one of their goals too?
That is a goal. Yeah, that is a goal, to be knocked out of bounds. And that sucks because then they'll run you back. And you just have to, you get more time that you have to go back further and, further length that you're skating.
Because when you come back into bounds, this is all like how I was saying with the passing of somebody. When you come back into bounds, you can get a penalty if you cut back in front of that person who runs you back.
I gotcha.
And it's just exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Get knocked out of bounds, you're like, no.
So, and the blockers too, like during a bout, I know we're just watching, like drills right now, but during a bout, those blockers, they're not only trying to stop the opposing jammer, they can also play offense to try to help their jammer. So it can be, you have to be a jack of all trades a little bit.
I got you. So you could have multiple jammers and multiple blockers all in the same group, all vying, trying to help, and
Yeah, it's chaos.
That could get pretty chaotic, yeah.
It is. Yeah, so for people's first bout, they're like, I'm so nervous. And I try to tell people, I'm like, it's okay. You're not going to know what the hell's going on.
Yep.
Just stay with your friends.
Stay with your friends, keep your head up. If you fall down, get back up again.
And because we have, I think, like 7 or 8 refs during a bout, something like that.
There's a couple.
Yeah. And so all these refs have whistles, and everybody's blowing whistles, and everybody's shouting, and it can be very chaotic. Yeah, at the bare minimum, stay with your friend.
Stay with your friend. Keep your eyes on your jammer.
And stay low.
Stay low.
Yeah.
The league now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's all inclusive now, right? You guys are welcoming all, like, so men can be in this league if they want to now as well. Is that right?
We've had a couple drop-in skaters from the Pittsburgh Undead who were gentlemen, and they came and skated with us. And I know that there are some skaters who maybe would be a little bit nervous about all gendered practices, but they're just phenomenal athletes.
Jen said you guys have a lot of new girls here.
Yes.
And I mean, is that pose a challenge to kind of get them up to speed and kind of on the same page?
It's kind of wild because it's new resurgence. So when I started, it was a resurgence of old roller derby, and we had a lot of people. But by the time before COVID hit, I felt like we had run out of bodies. Like we went through any women of a certain age that could roller skate. We had already tried to get them out here, had them, and lost them, or they quit, or whatever, you know. And so COVID brought 3 years of cessation. So people who maybe weren't as hard into it and then lost it, it gave them a repassion. And then it also made everybody go outside, and then they all bought skates, learned how to skate, and now they have this new skill, and it's this women's sport, and they're into it. And now with fitness becoming so more popular, it's awesome. We've got this whole new group of people, and so really a lot of these people started wall climbing, not 3 months ago, and they've come to this point where we have a really high skilled group of skaters for when we started. So it's kind of nice. We started with a lot of very new people and then a lot of very old people. So the very old people, we were just excited to have new people with us, and we had a lot of sharers, carers. So it worked out really well.
What do you love most about this? What do you love most about roller derby?
Roller derby gave me a confidence that I didn't have. So I had started working out at the gym, and that was probably like 10, 12 years ago, and my life was changing. You know, I was hitting an age, I was like 30 years old, and I'd had a kid, but she was getting older. And it was a catalyst for great change. And getting here and learning to be really good at it, and having never done sports in my life, and then excelling at a sport, getting awards, and people like, you know, oh my God. So something I'd never experienced in my life never been picked first at a sport, and I get picked first.
That's pretty cool. Nice.
I've never known this many people at once, you know what I mean, and kept close relationships with. So I think for me, it was the self-fulfillment. It came really from this.
I think my biggest takeaway from being at practice was just how together everyone is, like how helpful everyone is to everyone else, how inclusive of a environment it is, and just how encouraging it is. Like
it really is. I tell people that all the time. If they're like, I was randomly at All Skate on Friday at Youngstown Skate, and somebody had approached me because I always wear my knee pads when I skate, no matter where I am. And some younger girl like approached me. It was like, "Do you play roller derby?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like asking me all these questions about like maybe coming to a practice. I tell people all the time, come to a practice. Message our Facebook group. Like somebody will get back to you. Like we welcome people just to, even if you just want to come and watch. And I cannot say enough about how supportive and like accepting of a group roller derby is. And I think anybody I've run into has always said that too. Like it really is a supportive group, and we just want everybody to get better and like try their best. And if you just are sitting one out, then that's fine too. Are you learning something? Like
that's I think
right?
Seriously, that's my absolute favorite thing about roller derby is that it's all inclusive, it's welcoming, it's empowering. I know that the things that I've learned in roller derby I carry into everyday life, that everybody at this practice wants the best for everybody at this practice. And if you know how she was saying, like people who are like, "Oh, I've never thought about it," it's always like, come on, come in, you know, come try it out. If you don't know, we'll show you. If you are scared, we'll help you. And I think too, as we have like a lot of these new skaters, anytime that any of them are struggling with learning some of these minimum skills or finding they're having a hard time, you have all of the vets who are like, it's okay, I've been there and we're here to support you. And there's that encouragement too, because even as a seasoned veteran, there's people who are more seasoned than us.
Oh, scrimming. Scrim.
Yeah, I think we're in the scrimmage portion of this now.
We have pennies that people can put on, or
so they can play black and whites. So here you'll see the actual helmet covers. See the star there on Ashley. She's jamming for the black team. Okay, Slay is the pivot there. Oh, and there's Bombshells, the other jammer.
And Drama just ran me back.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. So if you get knocked back or knocked out, you have, like I said, you have to skate back because you're not allowed to get in front of that skater who knocked you out.
Yeah, so you can really see how obviously minimum skills is needed for actually playing. So you can fall safely, get up real quick, and keep going. Yeah, it's just chaos.
I mean, it is chaos. A lot of like when I noticed, but when you would get like on a good roll, or like when you could see people getting it, like it was really cool to see when it was like, oh, like you know,
clicks.
like as the scrimmage went on, like it was clicking more and more. What's the best advice that you guys would give to somebody that was just starting, or maybe even somebody that hasn't even started yet, but is kind of thinking about it?
Easy. Start skating. Just start skating. The more time you spend on your skates, the more comfortable you are. You want your skates to feel like a second extension of your feet. Go to an open skate. Drop in on a practice. One thing that I absolutely love about Youngstown's roller derby team is that there are times when I can't even play the game because I'm laughing too hard. We're having such a fun time, and everybody's giggling, or something happens that we're just like laughing so hard that I can't even focus. I don't know if
we do have fun.
I don't know if other teams have as much silly fun as we do, but I'm sure glad that we do it.
We do have fun. And like I try to tell people too, I'm like, it's the most fun time you'll have getting like thrown across the floor. Like I'm always laughing.
Yeah.
I'll be blasted across the floor and I'm like, damn it, you got me real good.
That's the other thing too, is like, I can't lie to you, it's really fun to hit people.
Right.
Like the games aside.
So give a little rundown again. So obviously you have the bout today, which is May 20th. But as far as the rest of the summer looks like, I mean, any other events kind of in the works or that you guys have planned?
I do know that we have the Trumbull County Fair has a beer garden that I know that some of us are going to be helping. But I know that we're going to be participating in the Trumbull County Trumbull County Fair.
Mhm.
And I know that we have a couple other scrimmages. If there are other skaters who want to drop in, we do some scrimmages every once in a while.
But I think too, we're just trying to get out and get the name out because we did kind of, change
Did
the
some
name.
rebranding.
Yeah, rebranding, and we got a bunch of new people. So I think we're just really trying to get the name out now.
Be a part of the
And-
community.
Yeah, so you might see us floating around on skates, passing out flyers.
Talk a little bit about you mentioned her. Talk a little about Jen. Cherry Bomb, right? That's
Yeah.
the name. So to talk a little about her, and she's sort of been the head of this for a little while, right?
She's the one out here
She's
making
the
it
bomb.
happen. Yep.
She's the bomb. Yeah, she's kind of just running everything right now.
Yeah.
So we're putting together all our committees. So getting people to come back after COVID kind of lifted all those restrictions. I mean, she's just putting everything together again from ground up, putting together all our committees, making sure, we did merch. We just printed merch last night. We were up till midnight printing new merch things. Roller derby is a really skater run thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to put together. The league put together bouts and she's on top of all of it. I don't know how she has the time, but
Yeah.
I don't think she
The
sleeps.
energy. Yeah, I was going to say the energy to do all that she does. She has done a really awesome job with securing us practice spaces and getting people together, getting the information out there on Facebook for us to do recruiting. She really has been kind of the matriarch of our team.
And I meant to ask us earlier, what are your nicknames?
I'm BF Skinher.
Nice.
You've changed your name a dozen times.
I've changed my name several times.
You're the skater formerly known as
What's the front runner right now?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. All right, so I was named Wisconsin by another skater when I first started. And then I switched it to the Church of Skating for a while there.
Nice.
And
I like that
now
one.
I do think that I'm going to return to being Wisconsin with the addition of Wisconsin Skate Penitentiary.
Nice. So how could folks get in touch with you guys?
Message us. Message
Facebook.
us. Yeah, message us on Facebook.
We have a website.
Yeah, we have a website. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We do the TikTok things. I don't know how that works. I'm
On
too
an
old for that.
occasion- On an occasion, we film a funny TikTok. That's
Yeah.
one of the other fun, silly activities we do at practice sometimes.
But yeah, I mean, people can reach out, just message us on social media. They can come to a practice, just stop by and even say, I just want to watch. I don't know. And we will be like, oh, well, welcome. Come, sit down, whatever. Even if people want to participate in not skating, there's always opportunities to be
Non-skating
involved
officials.
without skating.
So you guys might have touched on this before, but I asked this in the other interviews I did on Sunday too. What's your favorite part about roller derby?
There's so much. I like the athleticism of it. It keeps me moving. I love the friendships. I love the other activities that we do. The social connections is so much fun.
It's
I'm
tough
not.
to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
One favorite thing. What is your favorite thing about it? Roller derby.
Yeah. Exactly.
If I had to really pick skating, I love skating. It's my peace in life.
Yeah.
It just is really clearing your head. But a close second is going to absolutely be all the relationships that I've made. I mean, all of my best friends are people that I've met through roller derby.
Right.
The people that you meet change your life forever.
Right.
So it's between really like to roller skate and I really like roller skating with my friends. So
When people say that roller derby changed their life, it's for real.
yeah.
It really is. It really is.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, both of you.
Thank
it was,
you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking with you both. It was awesome being at practice. I appreciate the hospitality and the welcome over there as well
Absolutely.
too.
Anytime.
Youngstown Computer both has residential and commercial services. So if you need something with your computer, I want to free you up from having to worry about things that you shouldn't be worrying about. When you're ready to get in touch with us, you can find all of our information at youngstowncomputer.com.